Have you ever heard a strange scratching sound at night? A rhythmic scrape, scrape, scrape that seems to get closer and closer. If you have, you might want to run, because you could be the next target of one of Japan's most terrifying urban legends. The Teke. The story begins with a tragedy, like many great horror tales. There was a young schoolgirl, some say her name was Kashima Raiko, who had a terrible accident. She fell onto a railway line, right into the path of an oncoming train. In a horrific instant, her body was severed in two at the waist. An accident so brutal should have been the end of her story. But it wasn't. Her rage, her pain, and her burning desire for vengeance were so powerful that they tethered her spirit to this world. She couldn't die. Not yet. So now, her upper torso roams the dark streets of Japan, a horrifying specter of what she once was. She drags herself forward, using only her hands and elbows. And as she moves, her fingernails, or perhaps the bones of her fingers, scrape against the pavement, creating that chilling, unmistakable sound. Tick, tick, tick. That's how she got her name. It's the sound of your own doom approaching. Now, you might be thinking, she only has her upper body. How dangerous can she be? Don't make that mistake. Don't underestimate the tick, tick. Despite her grotesque appearance and lack of legs, she is unerringly fast. Legends say she can move at incredible speeds, icily keeping pace with a person sprinting for their life. And some stories even claim she can catch up to speeding cars. There's no outrunning her. Once she's set her sights on you, your fate is all but sealed. What happens when she catches you? Well, that's the most gruesome part of the legend. Misery loves company, and the Tick wants you to be just like her. She carries a weapon, sometimes described as a sharp scythe, other times a rusty saw. When she finally corners her victim, she swings her weapon with supernatural strength and slices them clean in half at the waist, mirroring her own tragic end. She creates more spirits like herself, doomed to crawl the earth in agony. So, where does this vengeful spirit like to hide? Like many Japanese ghosts, or yurei, she has her preferred haunting grounds. She is often said to appear in urban areas, particularly around train stations, which makes sense given her origin story. But one of her most notorious haunts is the school bathroom. Imagine being a student, staying late for club activities, and you hear that faint teek-teek sound echoing from an empty stall. In some versions of the tale, a voice will ask from inside the stall, "Where are my legs?" If you can't give a correct answer, she appears and claims you as her next victim. The correct answer, by the way, is said to be on the Meishan Expressway. But would you really be able to remember that in a moment of pure terror? Another terrifying place she might appear is in the back seat of your car. You're driving home late at night. You glance in your rearview mirror, and there she is, her mangled form lunging at you from the shadows of your own vehicle. By the time you see her, it's already too late. The story of the Tick taps into some of our deepest fears. The fear of disfigurement, the fear of being pursued by something relentless and unstoppable, and the fear of a violent, meaningless death. It's a perfect storm of horror elements. The sound is what makes it so effective. It's an auditory cue that builds suspense. First, it's distant, then it gets louder, closer, faster. Your own mind creates the horror before you even see her. There are many variations of the Tick legend across Japan. Some stories focus on Kashima, Raiko, and the bathroom stall riddle. Others just focus on the creature itself, the relentless hunter dragging her torso through the night. A popular modern version tells of a young boy walking home at night. He sees a beautiful girl leaning out of a window, resting her elbows on the sill. He thinks she might be flirting with him, so he smiles and walks closer. He asks her what she's doing, and she just smiles back. And then, she launches herself out of the window and lands on the ground in front of him, revealing her horrific lower half is missing. Before he can even scream, she's upon him, her hands scuttling across the pavement at an impossible speed. Teek, teek, teek. This particular story was even adapted into a film in 2009, which brought the Tick to a wider, international audience. The movie solidified her image as a fast, aggressive predator, a true monster of modern folklore. Why has this story remained so popular for so long? Perhaps it's a cautionary tale about staying out too late or being aware of your surroundings in desolate urban environments. Japan's cities are incredibly safe, but at night, the quiet, empty streets and alleyways can feel eerie. The Teke is the personification of that urban anxiety. She is the monster that could be lurking just around the corner, in the shadows of a place you thought was safe. The legend also reflects a deep-seated theme in Japanese folklore, the Onru, or the vengeful ghost. These are spirits, usually female, who were wronged in life and return to the world of the living to exact a terrible revenge. Their rage is so potent, it can physically manifest and harm the living. The Teke is a prime example of an Onru, her anger so profound that it allows her to defy death itself and continue her violent quest. So, what can you do if you ever hear that chilling sound? The legends don't offer many ways to escape. Unlike some spirits that can be appeased or banished with charms or rituals, the Teke is a force of pure, physical violence. Your only chance is to not be noticed in the first place. Be wary of dark alleys, empty train stations, and lonely roads at night. And if you ever in a bathroom stall and hear a strange voice ask you a question about missing limbs, maybe just don't answer. The Teke is more than just a scary story to tell around a campfire. She is a cultural icon, a monster born from modern anxieties and traditional beliefs. She represents the terror that can hide in plain sight, the sudden, brutal violence that can shatter an ordinary life. She is the sound in the dark that you pray is just the wind. But it might not be. So next time you're walking home alone at night and you hear a strange scratching sound, tick tick tick, don't look back, just run. Thanks for joining me on this deep dive into one of Japan's most frightening urban legends. If you enjoyed this journey into the dark, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more tales from the shadows. Let me know in the comments which urban legend you want me to cover next. Stay safe and watch your back.